Tonight, we're taking action, diving deeper into the claims of mistreatment and abuse that have pushed Red Onion, Virginia's only supermax prison, back into the spotlight. You're watching 8 News at 6. I'm Eric Phillips.
I'm Deanna Albritton. We now know at least 7 inmates have burned themselves in the past year, actions prison leaders call ludicrous. 8 News investigators Roland Wilson and Allison Williams join us tonight with what they've uncovered. Roland, Allison.
Well, Eric, Deanna, for months, Allison and I have researched why conditions at a state prison funded by your tax dollars continue to raise red flags for state leaders, advocates, and families of incarcerated people.
And we're uncovering what steps are being taken to improve conditions. But first, a reminder of why we began investigating this in the first place. The Virginia Department of Corrections has confirmed 7 men have burned themselves using electrical outlets to try and get transferred from Red Onion within the last year. I spoke with 3 men whose time spent at Red Onion spans across the 27 years since the facility opened. They described why they believe the conditions they experienced at Red Onion led the 7 men to burn themselves.
The lack of showers and overall dirtiness of the place has caused me quite a few sores on my arms and chest.
Beatings are constant, especially in solitary. They like to beat prisoners when they're handcuffed and shackled.
I can understand those guys saying I needed medical treatment and they didn't care for me, so I had to burn myself in order to get off of this place.
The DOC most recently confirmed to 8 News that the 7th man to burn himself did so in January.
And Allison, that latest burning only heightens the concern of lawmakers and advocates. Many say no one should be placed in an unsafe living situation, even those convicted of a crime. While the state is now investigating these allegations, the Department of Corrections maintains Red Onion is safe for inmates, recently inviting lawmakers to see for themselves.
You had the opportunity to visit Red Onion. Why did you take them up on that offer?
One, just the disturbing reports. And then I didn't want to be that person that talked the talk and then walked the walk.
In a one-on-one interview with Delegate Mike Jones, he describes his response to an offer from the Department of Corrections for lawmakers to visit Red Onion, Virginia's supermax prison in Wise County.
They had no idea we were coming. We walked in and they asked, "Who are you?"
A 3-hour surprise visit in December following reports of 6 inmates burning themselves to receive a medical transfer, a recent hunger strike,
shut them down,
and several protests over alleged inhumane conditions.
The gentleman showed me where he was wrong. He was bit. And he told me, he was like, look, I wasn't even the guy the dog was supposed to bite, and it bit me.
From excessive force using canines and complaints of abuse, their concerns, Jones says, needs to be addressed. And he's not alone. Following her scheduled visit last year, Delegate Holly Siebold sharing her frustrations about restorative housing, which some refer to as solitary confinement.
What bothered me the most about Red Onion was the mass amount of solitary that is being used. You step in, the minute you walk in, you just see cages outside and those cages have men in them.
In November, I asked Operations Chief Greg Holloway about these concerns, many of which have been laid out in lawsuits against the state over the years.
Are you saying that that's not the case at the facility here at Red Onion?
Yes, that's totally not the case, Ms. Wilson.
We've reached out to the Department of Corrections. They've mentioned to us they have a zero tolerance policy for inhumane conditions.
Well, then let's get it going then, right? It's happening. It's happening. Open your eyes and let's put that roll that zero tolerance out.
Hoping to spark change, the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus released this statement calling on Governor Glenn Youngkin and VADOC Director Chadwick Dotson to launch an independent investigation.
We've heard it for years. Several people, families, advocates, they want Red Onion shut down. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I can understand why. After going there, after walking through there, I can see why it needs to be shut down.
Department of Correction leaders say they're doing everything they can to keep inmates and staff safe. The State Inspector General's office says an investigation into prison oversight, previously on hold due to staffing issues, is now moving forward. While we wait for the results of that investigation, lawmakers are hoping bills recently passed by the General Assembly will help improve conditions at state facilities. And Jones telling me he plans to introduce legislation next session to help the families of those incarcerated at Red Onion.
This isn't a Democrat issue. This isn't our our mantle to go and run with and own. No, we all got to get around this table and figure it out.
And Governor Glenn Youngkin recently acted on those bills we just told you about. He decided to veto a bill to regulate facility temperatures, but passed a bill to improve violence reporting in state prisons. Deanna?